Good morning, listeners of Hot Topic and Fresh News. Today, April 16, 2024, at just before 7 in the morning Eastern Time, we're tracking major protests that have erupted across the United States. These demonstrations, part of the A-15 economic blockade, are a response to the ongoing conflict in Gaza. In San Francisco, protesters have caused a significant disruption by parking vehicles across the Golden Gate Bridge, leading to a standstill that lasted 4 hours. Similar scenes unfolded on the Brooklyn Bridge and Wall Street in New York City, where groups are demanding an immediate ceasefire in the Middle East. In a sweeping move that affected several other major cities such as Chicago, Miami, and Seattle, protesters have blocked vital roadways and access points, including the approaches to O'Hare and Seattle-Tacoma International Airports, causing substantial travel delays. This coordinated day of action specifically targets economic hubs on what's also tax day here in the U.S., aiming to pressurize American leaders and draw attention to the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. The backdrop to these protests is a 7-month war in Gaza that has already claimed thousands of lives and continues to escalate tensions worldwide. With the U.S. as a significant military supporter of Israel, demonstrators are also calling for an end to arms shipments to the region. Today, as cities across the nation experience these historic protests, the message is clear: stop the world for Gaza. Stay tuned as we continue to monitor this developing story and provide updates on further disruptions and responses from political leaders. Hi everyone, I'm Emily and welcome back to Hot Topic and Fresh News, your daily news podcast. Joining me today, as always, is my insightful co-host, David. Together, we're here to dive deep into the stories that matter most to you and your community. We broadcast every day here on Hot Topic and Fresh News, and if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe to our channel, turn on notifications, and share our episodes with your friends and family. Your support really helps us keep the news coming straight to you, hot off the press.
Absolutely, Emily. It's a great way to stay informed and a conversation starter with family and friends. What's on the docket today that's grabbing headlines?
Oh, David, you won't believe what I'm about to disclose. Today, we're covering the massive wave of pro-Palestinian protests sweeping across the U.S. This is not just about a local or national issue, it's about something that affects international relations, humanitarian issues, and possibly even the global economy. That's why it's relevant to all our listeners, whether you're directly affected or watching from afar. Stay tuned as we unpack the details of these demonstrations and their broader implications. Hot off the press.
Given the scale of these protests, do you think the organizers achieved their goal of drawing attention to the Gaza situation?
Absolutely. The strategic choice of locations, from major bridges and highways to critical economic hubs, ensured maximum visibility. They effectively disrupted daily routines, forcing both the public and leaders to confront the issue.
With such disruptions, there's been considerable backlash from commuters and businesses. Is this level of disruption justified?
It's a complex issue. The protesters are spotlighting severe humanitarian crises. Their method, while contentious, has historically been a way for voices on the fringe to be heard in broader societal and political debates.
But could there have been a less intrusive way to protest that might not alienate potential supporters?
Possibly, but less intrusive often means less effective. Remember, the aim here is to push for immediate action. Gentle methods might not have garnered the same urgent attention.
Aren't these actions, however, just polarizing the public rather than uniting them towards a common cause?
That's a fair point. Yet, polarization isn't necessarily unproductive. It can clarify positions and catalyze action from entities that would prefer to remain neutral.
That sounds like a justification for creating chaos just to push an agenda. That can't be right.
It's not about creating chaos for chaos's sake. It's about highlighting the chaos that already exists in Gaza, which many people here can ignore in their daily lives.
This logic is flawed. You're suggesting that mirroring chaos justifies the means? That's absurd.
What do you mean absurd? It's a direct reflection of the desperation and urgency felt by those affected. If you can't see that, maybe you're missing the broader picture.
Missing the broader picture? That's rich coming from you. Maybe you should take a step back and really look at the effectiveness of such disruptions.
You know what? This conversation is getting too heated. I need to grab a glass of water to cool off. Excuse me.
All right, off you go. So folks, today's debate has certainly taken a turn, hasn't it? Sometimes discussions get heated, but it's all part of delving deep into these complex issues. And between us, maybe someone needs to read up a bit more on the practical implications of political agitation. Anyway, thanks for staying with us through this fiery debate.
I'm back. Let's pick up where we left off. What were we discussing? We're back. In light of today's discussion, it's important to also look at the broader implications of these protests. The U.S. has long played a pivotal role in the Middle East, and the current demonstrations reflect deep-seated frustrations about that involvement.
Indeed, the timing of these protests on tax day is particularly symbolic. It's a clear message to the government that the public wants accountability for where their money is going, especially in terms of foreign aid and military support.
Absolutely, and the statistics are staggering. The United States has been the largest supporter of Israel since World War II, making up 69% of Israeli military's total arms imports over the last 4 years alone. That's not a trivial number.
And amidst this, President Biden's recent calls to Prime Minister Netanyahu show an attempt to mitigate the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. Pressing issues like civilian harm and the safety of aid workers are on the table. How effective do you think these diplomatic efforts are?
It's a complex dance. While diplomatic calls signal concern, the real test is intangible changes on the ground. Gaza's near-famine conditions and the dire need for medical care are immediate concerns that need more than just diplomatic discussions.
It's a sobering reality. And looking at the casualties, over 33,000 killed in Gaza alone, majority being women and children, it's a humanitarian crisis that can no longer be overlooked.
Yes, and it's clear from today's nationwide protests and the messages on those banners, "Stop the world for Gaza, stop arms to Israel," that there's a strong call for a shift in U.S. policy and a more pronounced push towards a ceasefire.
As we wrap up today's episode, it's crucial to ponder on these issues and what they mean not just for those directly involved, but for global stability and humanitarian values. We'll continue to follow this and bring you the latest updates as they unfold.
Stay tuned, and remember, the story isn't over yet. We'll be back with more insights, more debates, and of course, the latest news. Hot off the press, as always. Thanks for tuning into Hot Topic and Fresh News today. We've navigated through the complex waters of the pro-Palestinian protests and their implications on U.S. foreign policy. It's been an enlightening session, and we're thrilled to have you part of this journey. Remember to subscribe and hit that notification bell to stay updated. We value your engagement. Please share our channel with those you think will benefit from these discussions, and drop us a comment with your thoughts.
And hey, make sure you're keeping things light too. There's always something intriguing on the horizon, and you wouldn't want to miss out on our daily insights. Trust me, they're more addictive than your morning coffee.
Absolutely, your participation and feedback brighten our days and sharpen our content. We're eagerly looking forward to our next encounter here on Hot Topic and Fresh News.
So, keep those eyes peeled and ears open. Who knows what the next twist in the news cycle will be? But one thing's for sure.
Stay in the loop, keep your eyes on the news, our channel's content will amuse.